Yo, Sarah Love.
Oh, I just realised something. Let's see if this works. We're live. I'm gonna have to bring this up.
Right,
yeah.
you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hold on.
Tip of their egg.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, jingle bells, mate. The bells still jingle.
Oh.
Fuck that shit, man. You know what I mean? The bells still jingle, ladies and gentlemen. The bells still jingle. We are live and direct right here. It's 2022. What's going on, bitches and bitchettes? All right, you might need to, let's mute our guests. Oh, shit. Hold on a
Right.
minute.
So, what's happening? In case you haven't noticed,
yeah.
Mice is in another country. This is an international show now. We're going international with this. So, I'm in England. Mice is in France.
I'm in France. I'm in Bordeaux. You know, where is my? I have my red wine attached to my hip. Quoi. You know, at all times you have to have your red wine, or you are not in France. You know. What do you think of my friends?
You've learned the language pretty well, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I can translate for the man. I can translate still. Right, what do you man need? Oh shit, let me sort out my lighting. Yeah, there you go. That's more like it, isn't it?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
See the stars in my eye.
Yeah. So,
what's going on, mother lovers? We want to welcome everybody back, man. We appreciate all you guys tuning in as always. We've been off air for, what has it been, about just maybe a month or maybe a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Couple technical hitches, so we couldn't get back straight away. But we appreciate everyone tuning in as always. I am your co-host, live and direct via satellite. I've always wanted to say that, even though it is kind of technically satellite. Yeah, live and direct via satellite. I am your host, MysDiggi, with my co-host, as always, Dan DNA.
Yeah.
What's going on, bro?
Yeah, good. It's a bit weird actually, because you're normally sitting about. You're normally sitting.
It is weird, isn't it?
We could high five
like
from where
2
we're
meters
sitting normally, but now you'd need some long arms to high five.
Well, I can, you know, if I decided like I wanted to, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to venture in.
Hold on.
Is it this way?
No, I've cut your window down. Hold on. Right. Try. No,
okay, right.
Wait.
Is it like this?
Can you? Oh, there you are.
Is it? I can't see it. It didn't work for me, but yeah. If I wanted to join you, yo, this is the magic of technology now, boy. I'll tell you that. It's beautiful, man. It's a shame it's, you know, old Microsoft,
this is very weird.
William, but you know, yeah. But it's funny because all the hype is on the Zoom thing, but you realize like, right, Skype can do the Zoom thing for free. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't blame people because like, no, man, people can't do it, but yeah, it still works, man. So yeah, we're back with another podcast, another episode. This is episode number 31 of some shit you might not never know nothing about. That's right. Every week we try and bring you some intense, you know, well, not necessarily intense, but we try and give you some news, something that you might not never know nothing about. And this week we got a very special guest, man. The beautiful thing about like doing this is that, you know, we get to speak to a bunch of different people. Some people that I've known for years as well, but the only conversations we have are usually in a jam, you know, when there's loud music and that person's rushing to do something else, and I'm, I might be performing, or maybe I'm hanging out, but we're both not. It's not a time where we can sit down and actually chat and get to know each other and So what I love about this is there's so much history with people that now we can catch up and we can sit down and we got a couple hours to really chat and catch up on stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. We got a hard-working mother lover by the name of Theo Specone, man. He holds down Hoochinoo, UKHH.com, also the rapper tag for UK, as well as Receptor Records. And I feel like I've missed something else out, but yeah, we're going to be chatting to him a bit later on. So I'm looking forward to that. But right now we got some catching up to do. Of course, we got to shout out all the crew in the chat room already. Let us know if our sound is right, because we obviously learn from our own mistakes, and make sure we check the comments before we get too excited. Happy New Year to my brother PLK. What's going on, bruv? He says Happy New Year and all that. Early start, just sticking kettle on. Back soon. All right, he's probably got his tea back. I see what you're talking about there. When you're talking about tea, I know what you mean. Shout out to Gleam. He says, welcome back, Kings. Yes, bruv. Shout out to Kenny Rebel. He says, big up, everyone. Crew, all joining us right about now. We appreciate you. Shout out to Chris Lahat. What's going on, bruv? Shout out to Yamor. I hope I said that right. You know what I mean? I've been practicing over my Christmas din-dins. How was you lot's Christmas and New Year's, by the way? Did people get to enjoy it regardless of the restrictions that seem to happen? Did you party up like Boris did last year? I don't even know why we got to rant and rave and go crazy about what my man did last year, let alone the year before that. But it's like, come on, man. You've got to dwell on that. Everyone's realizing now, like, right, I should have actually gone to my nan's, or I should have gone to party, or I should have gone. Like, hey, that's you, man. Guy lies about one thing but tells the truth about another. It don't really make sense. So yeah, let us know what you got up to during your Christmas and New Year's.
Good, yeah. I've just realised we've still got a Christmas message in the bottom of the screen, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Hold on. There you go.
I told you that. I said to you there's a Merry Christmas. Now, what was funny, though, is the music has still got the jingles, man. Shout out to Black Einstein for sorting out the jingles. It was so good we had to do it twice. Just think about every day's Christmas from now on. We might just leave it like that. How about that, yeah? We're going to speak to one of our favorites, listener favorites, is MysDiggi, and hopefully we can get a breakdown on the origins of like why we celebrate Christmas. Oh wow, my lighting's gone off. Yeah, why we celebrate Christmas at the time we do. Why do we call it the New Year when technically it's not really the New Year, is it? You know what I mean? Like spring is the New Year. That's when things come
that's
alive.
true. Yeah.
So it will be good to find out a bit more about that. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, we're here now. So how did yours go, man? Shout out to Black Einstein as well. Even though he says Merry Christmas. Shout to DJ Locke in the building. He says bonjour. Actually, it is bonsoir because it is nighttime, my friend. You have to, if you are going to speak French, you have to do it properly like this. Like this. This is how you speak French. I was just pissing by. I'm telling you, being out here though, like, and hearing them look, because obviously the French like practicing their English on me, innit? They're like, if you're English, then they want to speak, I'm sorry for my English, but they want to practice in that. And then you realize like how genius the show Hello Hello was. It was genius because the way that words are pronounced, it really does come across like that. Like I was pissing by, and you know what I mean? Where you're like, wow. The maddest thing is trying to explain to them though the show Hello Hello. Like I've done it probably, I've been touring with these guys now, Smokey Joe and the Kid, for like 5 years or 6 years or something, and they never quite get it. I'm always trying to explain Hello Hello.
I bet they find that well offensive.
Of the accents being
no, but you don't understand how funny Hello Hello is.
They probably do it.
No, it's funny. You've got to watch it. It's funny. I know they're taking the piss out of you. It's funny.
It's true, yeah. Yeah. But what I do to style it, I go, because the Germans, they do it with the Germans as well. I guess that doesn't make it any better, innit? Like,
so you lot with your onions and your stripy tops and your berets, and then them lot with their marching and they're all this. Yeah. They probably don't.
Onions? Sorry, I meant frogs. But yeah, we got So last year when I got to come out, we shot a video for there's a tune called Culture Clash with me and another rapper called Yoshi. Yoshi's from France. And yeah, and as you can guess from the title, it's a bit of a clash of cultures and that. And what was cool, you know what I mean? It was cool because I got to take the piss out of the French, but in a fun way. The video for that's going to come out soon, but the album is out right about now. If you want to go cop that, go stream that. Smokey Joe and the Kid, War is Over. You know what I mean? So look out for that there. And once the video drops, we'll have to, see if we can do a sneak peek on here or something. You know what I mean? But yes, mon frères, you know what I'm talking about. Peace to all the mother lovers locked in right about now. So what did you get up to? How was your
I had
Christmas,
a bad back,
New Year's and whatnot?
I put my back out weightlifting basically, and then I spent like 2 weeks of it sort of horizontal, and then doing like lots of little exercises I'd basically put my SI joint out at the back of my hip, so it's pretty painful Christmas, but it's all sorted now anyway. So yeah, I'm indestructible.
So was that? Yeah, I bet that was quite a bit of it's quite annoying, isn't it, when it's like meant to be a holiday and that, and then you're all busted up. It's just like, oh really? Even though you ain't gonna do, you know what I mean? We don't really do the holiday shit like when we're kids or whatnot, but still, you're
it's
like,
typical
because
it's like Christmas is the only time I get to do something, and then I had to spend all my time resting. So it's quite hard for me. You know what I'm like. So.
And you did, yeah. Like, well, the fact that you were on your back, but you were still doing workouts, I think everyone knows what you're like now. I think everyone knows what you're like now. What was I going to say? So, but you managed to sort it out yourself. Like, you didn't have to go, no physio.
No.
Do tell.
Well, first thing is not to panic if you do anything wrong. You know, if you get anything like an ailment, it's just don't panic first of all, and you don't have to go to see somebody. There's you can usually sort of work especially if it's like your back or something. You can usually work out what it is yourself by just doing some. Try and avoid stretching for a start. So you want to sort of, because the possibility is you've already overstretched something, or you're tight somewhere. That's why it's pulled. You know, it's ended up pulling something out. With me, it was that the SI joint had slipped out, and so I needed to sort of find ways of like pulling it back into place, and then strengthening everything around it to try and sort of like, because where it slipped out, obviously all the muscles were now pulling it in one different direction, because you've got a lot of strong muscles around your hips. So it's just a matter of trying to sort of crack it back into place, which you could go to a chiropractor for or whatever it is. Is that what they're called, where they crack your back? You could probably go to someone like that and do it and pull it back in. But I just done some different sorts of manipulation exercises and all that sort of thing. Just trying to sort of you can find out loads of stuff on the internet now anyway if you need to, you know. And then I've actually corrected the squats thing, which was the problem. The problem was my squats were caused me to overcorrect on something, and I ended up like having to thrust my leg out to push the weight back up off the ground, and then I ended up sort of popping it out. So it's all right now. It's back to normal. It's not even sore. It's just back to normal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's amazing, isn't it? Those sort of things you don't really look at as, it's like, almost like when you know the toys when you were a kid, and you like a toy soldier or whatever, and then you pop out the leg or the arm, and then pop it back in, and like, oh, okay. And you obviously it's not exactly the same thing, but it's pretty similar as to how we can sort ourselves out sometimes. Where, oh man, I've just got this really bad pain, and sometimes it is just a case of you
I learned a couple of things, and it was really over. You know, so I did do a lot of learning about the body while I was off, and mainly like stretching is not the answer to things, because you can already be too stretched, so you can already be overstretched, or you can be too tight, so you've got to avoid stretching. And then trigger point stuff is also not really very good for you, because all you're doing is just like relieving it temporarily. So you need to find what is the root of the problem and try and correct it from there, and then work forward. So there's lots of other types of ways to manipulate the body that don't involve doing things like stretching. So you can use something called somatics.
Sure.
A technique where you're like slowly, basically, when the muscle goes into like a sort of spasm or something, it has like a memory of how it happened in there. So then the body's trying to protect itself by overcompensating with other muscles and trying not to get you to do that thing again. So you're sort of having to retrain the muscle to remember what happened and just tell it to let go. So it actually just involves doing lots of actual slower things, and not anything that's going to cause. But anyway, if you're into all that stuff, look it up. Look up somatics. It's very interesting. Yeah,
somatics. Yeah. And what's the other one? Kin stretch as well, isn't it? Where there's like what's it called? It's called, there's like a system in terms of joint, not necessarily manipulation, but you see people and you think that they're double jointed. Like there's some break dancers, they do certain moves where they could twist their ankles all the way around and all that. But what you notice is, especially with babies, they seem to be very supple, that like they can bend in all sorts of ways. And apparently what happens is we kind of lose that because we don't use that sort of movement as we're growing up. And so there are these techniques that I think it was called kin stretch, like KIN and then stretch. And there are other names for it as well, but that really help people in terms of, whether you have certain muscular pains or joint pains, and it will be like over time, using it as a sort of therapy, a way of sort of strengthening the areas around where you've got the pain, and so they kind of help you a bit more. So I've been looking at a lot of that stuff, man, and I think it's really interesting, the fact that as soon as we get some type of pain, we're like, oh yeah, you're more, it says hyper flexible, but there is that, but there's also like the fact that they repetition, the fact that if you keep doing it, after a while your body gets used to. And so these are sort of ways of bending and stuff that we're kind of told you're not meant to do. Like even with your lower back, it's like, oh, you better bend your knees and all that sort of stuff. But the body is able to bend that way. It's just a case of you sort of strengthening those areas. So you're not, for instance, like you get a lower back pain and then the doctors will usually tell you, oh, keep your back straight, make sure, and then you're going to end up like that for quite a long time because you're keeping your back straight. Whereas you're meant to, with this whole kin stretch thing, is like you work with the momentum of movement, and then eventually you actually get out of the pain a lot quicker. Where it might be like 2 weeks of, I've got this niggling pain, it's like as soon as you feel it and you start working on it, within 2-3 days that pain could be gone. You know what I mean? So I think you've shown some aspects of that there, so it makes a lot of sense, man. It's good to hear though. You're back on form.
Keep fit. You might never know nothing about.
Sort out that twitch that you might never know nothing about. Shout out to Gleam. He says Gleam says the only channel which is bad is the one between you. Remember when one thing that bugged me, man, was Nori on what when he says run laps around the English Channel. Yo, we should do an episode where we just pull up lyrics like, what the fuck what was that?
Yeah.
But yeah, my man said
what. So like we could do something where we do fact checking rappers. Yeah.
Rap checking, yeah. That's a good one, yeah. We rap check them. It's like, bruv, what did that mean exactly? But my man said run laps around the English Channel. It was like, I don't know if you could do that, but sure he meant something by it. I don't know. I remember, he's not a rapper, but he's hip hop still. Dwele, he's a singer. And I think he said Piccadilly Square. Like he was trying to do a thing like talking to a girl and I'll take you out to so-and-so. And then he says Piccadilly Square instead of Piccadilly Circus. Or it might have been Trafalgar Circus instead of Trafalgar Square. But yeah, we should do that, man. Because there's a lot of questionable lyrics where you're like, like, what did you mean by that? At least, you know what I mean? Educate yourself on the shit first, bro. If you're going to try and drop them gems, man said run laps around the English channel.
Fact checking rappers. I like that. That's a good. We could do that.
Shout out to Kenny Rebel. He said for Christmas, it was just him and his son. Had a feast, good music from scratch. Bastard Crunkmas.
So what about you? What was your Christmas?
Sounds pretty lethal. Man, my Christmas was mad quiet. A lot of eating, and just kept it really simple this year. I think it's it's the whole kind of, for me, I feel like Christmas is for the kids anyway. Yeah. I like the get together with family stuff. That's always cool. And you know what I mean? It's the one time like everyone can sort of catch up. So we did that. Big meals, a lot of turkey, a lot of goat as well.
Christmas goat, yeah.
True, it's around, yeah, you got it, man. Goat pan, you know what I mean? Makes sense, no Baphomet. It's the time when we celebrate him. Celebrate him. Who was it? Someone did say, though, that regarding Christmas, it's to do with the winter solstice. And there's a lot of different sort of, it's hard to figure out now exactly what was what and who was doing what, but obviously it's a very big world. So all around the world, people probably celebrated in different ways. But I did hear about the fact that the goat was celebrated around this time, not only because of, Capricorn and whatnot, but also because the goat was like certain civilizations, they only survived because of the fact that the goat was around, and the goat would be at the top of the hill and, with the two horns. And so that's why the whole thing about horns or thorns or the crown of horns was a big thing as well, because they kind of worship the goat like, yo, this thing survived so well and we're surviving because of it, because we can eat the goat and all that sort of stuff. So I definitely want to find out a bit more of that as well, man, because so goat was I enjoyed that during this festive season. New Year's, actually, this was probably one of the first New Year's where I had an early night, man.
Bed before midnight. Went to bed before midnight.
Oh, good. Did I go to bed before midnight? No, it wasn't before midnight.
Bong, bong.
Early night, like 1, 2 o'clock. Yeah. Nah, because you can't sleep with all the fireworks. This was the thing. People were going in on the fireworks. People were going, like, it was ridiculous this time around. Like, it literally felt like people were like, I'm going to enjoy this no matter what. I don't care. I spent $1,000. Yeah, like, man spent a couple grand on fireworks and just going pop, 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 pop. Like, it felt desperate. Everyone, the whole block. And then, you know what I mean? It's like in West especially, because you got like the whole Diwali lot, like they do their thing. They're like, yo, you know what? I've still got some leftovers. And man, still had leftovers from Diwali. And I'm sure there's a couple of people. I was like, right, man, you lot, come on, man, it's 1:45 now. You like, pop, 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 pop. Wow, you lot really want to enjoy this New Year's, innit? Like, it was funny, man, but yeah, I felt it. It just felt desperate. This year felt a little bit desperate.
Everyone wanted 2021 to be over. That's the other thing. People were just like, oh, thank fuck it's over. Yeah.
Perhaps just pop it off. Fuck, but I couldn't believe it. But yeah, so it was all good, man. I think it's just tricky with these sort of times not being, what we're used to. You're right. We're just hoping that it, eventually we can get rid of all of this and start anew. You know what I mean? There's obviously bits and bobs of news out there for what it's worth, saying they're going to ease restrictions on this, that, and the third. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Traveling about, I'd say people are still definitely fully invested. Do you know what I mean? But it's weird because, and I say to people like, right, you're traveling. Like, you got to stop worrying, man. The fact that you're on a tube, let alone you're on a plane and this, that, and the third. And I felt like the security, they're just like, yo, we're ready for this to be done. Like, we've had enough. Go through, man, go through. Yeah, I haven't got my vote yet, bruv, just hurry up, man. And they remove the mask. I like, remove the mask. Freedom. And they're like, yeah, like, I don't like wearing this. I was like, yo, yeah, man, everyone, all the people that are working in certain places, they're like, yo, this shit ain't what you know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, all right, you've made your money. Can we move on now? You know what I mean? But we'll see anyway. We'll see. But yeah, it's been a very interesting time, obviously, with everything going on. But I just hope that now people can start looking at things, you know, being a bit more positive and just ignoring all the BS, ignoring all the bullshit that's going on out there. That ain't, you know, we know what's what, especially the common sensors know. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's up to everyone to do what they want to do. As long as you feel safe and you're happy and we don't judge each other, we'll get through this.
And just as long as we flatten that curve, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
14 days,
curve,
14 days
you
to
know
flatten the curve.
So I think, is it the 26th? They're gonna ease restrictions on some shit, but whatever that means, you know what I mean? I don't know, but you know, these things we just got to look at as a positive thing.
Yeah.
Boris is on his exit strategy, the same way Matt Hancock. Hey, I did something embarrassing, and yeah, I probably should go. You want me? Yeah, I can leave if you want me to. You know what I mean? He's got his pockets of fat. He's good. Everyone's like, yeah, you, because he's like, I know, I'm sorry. Like, for me I'll just excuse myself.
Pockets
from,
full of,
you know what I mean?
full of quality streets coming out of his top pocket where he stuffed them all in at the last minute. Oh, yeah, I'll go. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, lollipop sticking out his mouth.
It's obvious, man. Like I said, man, the friggin' MMA fighters did it with, you know, when they pop for drugs, they pop for steroids or whatnot. Yeah. No, it must have been these dick pills that I got from the petrol station. And then people, what? Dick pills? You know, first it was, yo, he's cheating, beating everybody up and he's on drugs. Then he's like, oh my God, dick pills. And you've forgotten all that stuff now. And you're just like, oh my God, you know, similar thing, man. These people don't care. When they're making pee like that, like, yeah, you could, hey, I'm richer than you, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? And this ain't my real name. How about that? On top of that, this ain't even my real name. So who you gonna arrest, bitch? You know what I mean? It's nuts, man.
Right, so.
But yeah. Yeah. Let's get our guest in, shall we? Because we got a lot of catching up to do with this, brother. Right damn now. Ladies and gentlemen, how do I introduce this guy, man? This is a guy I've known for quite a long time as well. I'd say, first of all, through Hoochinoo, going to his events, performing at his events. And then he moved into the UK HH world where he took over. And in my opinion, actually, you know, like heightened the brand. He actually made the brand bigger than what it was before, which is interesting because obviously UKHH was quite a foundation in terms of, you know, once the internet started popping off, had the forum and whatnot, people going back and forth. I know people, I remember, I think it was Bluefoot who told me, like, people were saying, oh, Mice has fell off since Music Maestro and all that. I was, where are they saying that? And he's going, yeah, UKHH forum. And I was like, oh, we're chatting on there, probably rappers. And then, but the thing is, it was sort of a thing where the guy who originally started it, I think he was, you know, kind of a bit too busy for it and whatnot, and on his way out. And then Theo kind of, you know, he decided, right, let me take over. And for me, I just feel like he's really taking it to another echelon with the work he's been putting in. Very hardworking mother lover. Also, from a crew that I've known for a very long time, called Ill Breed Coalition. So we got to chop it up about that. And also Rapper Tag, man. He took over the Rapper Tag side of things for the UK. So there's a lot to chat about here, man. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Hoochinoo's very own, UKHH.com's very own, Receptor Records' very own, Rapper Tag UK's very own, Theo Specone. Please give him a warm welcome. Let me see some fire emojis, some hand clapping. You know what I mean? Whatever you want, man. Bombs, volcanoes. What's the other thing? Nah, not the aubergine, man. Loud eggplants, man. You look.
Put some aubergines in there. It's fine.
People get too carried away with it.
Very high praise. Thanks, Mice. Thank you, Mice.
Hey, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
you for having me on the show. So the shit you might never know nothing about.
Thank you.
Hey, there you go,
I mean,
bro.
It's written on the screen, so I was trying to remember it then, but it's written on the screen. But so yeah, but no, thanks. Thank you very much for having me, Dan DNA. You know, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Obviously, I've known both of you for a long time, so
for a minute.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I didn't know you two had quite a bit of history as well. We've got to get into a lot, man. But Theo, so I guess like first of all, big up, man. Salute for all the hard work you've been putting in throughout the years, man. And that's why I had to let people know, like, that's one thing for sure, is that you're a hard-working mother lover. Because like I said, I've seen you through all these sort of different dimensions, we could call them, you know, the Hoochinoo, UKHH, rapper tag and whatnot. But I want to get to know, like, and then obviously Ill Breed Coalition, which is probably the beginning, right? That was like probably where you got into the scene. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so can you break down who are Ill Breed Coalition? Obviously, some of the names will be familiar to people. And how did you get involved? And we'll go from there.
Yeah. So before we get into that, I also want to give a big shout out to Defacer, because when we took over UKHH.com, it was me and Defacer, we did that together. We started Rapper Tag UK together. We'll come back to all that stuff. And obviously we got big up Defacer. We've got Kieran on board as well. There's been a lot of changes.
Big up Kieran. Yeah.
But at the very beginning, it was me and Defacer, and even Hoochinoo. You know, I'd been promoting for so long, and I was very sort of tired and weary and everything. And he just pulled me right back in, and he said, "Let's do this Hoochinoo thing and UKHH.com and Rapper Tag." But I'll get onto that. So with Ill Breed Coalition, so that I was a founding member of the
Ill Breed Coalition.
Yes, I was a founding member of the Ill Breed Coalition, or the IBC, and this was in the sort of the mid-90s. So it was a collective of rappers and DJs and producers from sort of North and Northwest London. So
I remember it was a North.
Some of the people you might be familiar with from the collective, other than myself, obviously, is people like Kashmir or King Kashmir or Kashmir Iguana Man.
That was it.
Combine Mentals, Molecular Structure, Marky Four Eyes. There's a bunch of people associated with it. Jackie Purple. There's a whole extended sort of family. So there's too many people to mention right now. But cheers. Salut, right? Is that a French one?
Hey, salut. Wait.
So yeah, that's how it all started. And we were making beats on an MPC, and we're making mixtapes. And when I say mixtapes, I mean mixtapes, you know, like tapes, so cassettes and stuff like that. So we're talking a long time ago. And you know, the IBC, the Ill Breed Coalition, basically became Receptor Records with a dear friend of ours called Tom Brown, who started the label back in 2003. Yeah.
Oh, it was 2003. That was Receptor, yeah?
That was when Receptor first started, and that was when Tom Brown was at the helm of the record label back then. Yeah. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. So
IBC's Ill Breed Coalition. I know, because we got shout to IBMCs, by the way. They're in the he's in the chat as well, and that always throws me off. I'm always like IBMC. Shout to Baron Simbak. So there's a collective of rappers and producers, right, in Ill Breed Coalition. And how was it that people got together? Was it like people knew each other from the area, school, or because I remember for me in Jargon, you know, so. For people who don't know, Jargon is the other Natural Born Spitter, and his crew were MI5. And so when I first started linking with MI5, we would go and link with some of your lot, with Ill Breed Coalition, and, you know, have ciphers and whatnot, you know, and it was proper fun. And we used to be like, yo, that's like the Northwest Wu-Tang, because there were so many of you, we couldn't work out how many. But so that's what I'm wondering. How did you lot all link up? Was it like Mandem from the Estates, or... You know what I mean? School, or what? How did people find each other and then form the coalition?
There was a lot of the Graham Park lot, and they were all mates from those sort of areas and people that I knew in Collindale. That's like Signback and Latty and a person that I was rapping with at the time, because I was a rapper once upon a time. And that was a guy.
Yeah, you still are. Don't try.
Yeah.
You got bars.
Yeah, I'm super average. But But yeah, this guy Grief that I went to school with, I wasn't from the same part of North. I was from North London, they were from Northwest, so I knew Grief from school, and then he brought me up to the ends in kind of Collindale, Kilburn, like Graham Park areas, and then we started to kind of spit bars and make music together, and then there was this guy. Apparently, he was the best rapper they'd ever seen, and it's this guy called Obi-Wan at the time. And we went up there, and it was Kashmir, you know, and I had my little notepad spitting lyrics, and he just blew me out of the water, and I think I retired that day. But
wow, his name was Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that. Can I say that?
You can say whatever the fuck you want on there, bro. Yeah, so go on. So his name was Obi-Wan, and then was that one of them ones where you're like, okay, maybe I'll move on to something else rather than rapping?
Yeah, I just, I gave rapping a go. I was described as very, very mediocre in terms of my rapping skills. And then I moved into basically trying to put on events, putting on shows, which started off life with getting other members of the Ill Breed Coalition onto the stage to perform at little venues. So I think one of the first venues we did was WKD in Camden Town.
Wow. What year was that?
I think that was 2003.
Ah, boy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So Hoochinoo started in 2003. So the Ill Breed Coalition was from the sort of the mid to the late 90s. And by 2003, we started doing shows as Hoochinoo at WKD in Camden Town. Yeah.
Where did the name Hoochinoo come from?
The Hoochinoo is the name of a Native American tribe that invented moonshine. That's where the name comes from. That's why there's all this Native American imagery in regards to, all the flyers and the artwork that we do. It comes from that.
So, sorry, you said they invented
moonshine.
Oh, moonshine.
So is that where the word hooch comes from?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some shit you might not ever know.
I always thought it was who she knew. There's something you might not never know nothing about right there. Boy, I didn't know that at all, man. So how did you discover that? Did you have like an affinity for Native American stuff?
Not really. There was a few other people involved at that time. I was running the events with a guy called Gary and Arv at the time. And then DJ Ak1 come on later. And I got the origins of that name. I can't remember where it come together, but or where we came across that name. But it was a kind of a tribe of Native Americans that were kind of the underdogs who come up with the created moonshine or hooch. And there was a story about an explorer that came across the village of the Hoochinoo, and it was like men, women, and even children were sort of stumbling around drunk after discovering this, this hooch or this moonshine, and it just reminded me of me and my mates. So we, this kind of, not anymore, but at the time, yeah.
I'm trying to figure what is it they fermented. What did they? Because it's like everywhere, all these different countries. They all like, we tried a fig leaf, and these one tried a coconut, and this one tried a potato. And like, I wonder what it was that they turned into hooch. Native Indians. Yeah,
corn or some sort of whiskey, some sort of whiskey corn. Or something like that. Yeah,
maize or something.
Yeah, exciting, isn't it? Someone's gonna find out and let us know anyway. Wow. So and then so the transition, from, because I always wonder, like, this is a big part of being a promoter, is like you've got to be brave enough to obviously fund what you can and then promote, and it's sort of fingers crossed that people are going to turn up. How did you even, you got to find out the logistics of how it works as well. How did that come about? Or did you just sort of wing it? You're like, okay, this is what I got to do. I know that people got to pay and I got to make this money. How did you put that together?
The first, basically anyone can be a promoter for the first event they ever do. You can put on an event, your family will come, your friends will come, your colleagues will come to the first one. It's a big success. And maybe you make a bunch of money and everyone had a great time. The second event, less people come. Maybe your family doesn't come. Only a couple of your friends come. None of your colleagues make it. But then it's less successful. And by the third event, it's terrible. No one comes, you lose a bunch of money, and you don't want to do it again. So it's at that point that if you want to be a promoter, you have to actually build a fan base. You can't rely on your friends or your family or colleagues to fill the spaces. It's good when they come, of course, but you can't build an event doing that. And I think there was something that went up on Instagram, and it said, if you're a promoter, you can't expect this, and it shows like a packed out, successful event. You can't expect this without this. And then it showed like an empty room with like just the rapper on the stage and no one at the event. And I think that's true. You know, as Hoochinoo, we've done terrible events as well as fantastic events. So you're going to have to, you're going to have both in your life as a promoter. And the first few were good, but then, you know, we did have some terrible events. But one of the best ones I remember, and I even performed at this event, we had DJ Scully, and he was, at the time, he was the champion, and we managed to convince him to do our show. He was a friend with DJ Aquan. It was something to do with that. And DJ Scully was performing. We had a selection of Receptor Records people like Combine Mentals. I performed there myself, which my group at the time was called Abstractions. And I don't know, there's Acerola Plus and a bunch of other people. And that was at Madame Jojo's, which is long gone now, but it was part of Paul Raymond's Review in Soho. You know, it was an old strip club. And, you know, we put on an amazing live event there. And in fact, Mice, you performed at one of our Hoochinoo events that we did at
Madame Jojo, innit?
Yeah, Madame Jojo's, yeah.
The one where Killer Keller had his like group with his girlfriend and all that, and he was singing in it or something.
Yeah, there's Killer Keller and Amy Carmine, which is called Them and Us. So he did a little bit of beatboxing, but it was more singing, and you know, it was quite alternative. And then we had Tiger Monkey, we had yourself, Mr. Thing was there. I mean, Doc Brown come down, was in the crowd. Normski was there, I think. Yeah, there was like a bunch of people
was there. Yeah, it
was very cool. So,
what I enjoy about the Hoochinoo thing as well, what I really enjoyed about it is that it wasn't like, obviously the foundation was like the hip hop element, and obviously like UK being, you know, that's where we're at. But like what you were saying just there is that you'd have other acts that were sort of related in a way, but they weren't of the genre, if that makes sense. And was that like, you know, you done that purposefully, or was it a thing that where you're like, oh, actually this kind of works as well?
Yeah, no, we definitely labelled ourselves as UK and alternative hip hop, and we tried to always involve live instruments. And Dan knows this because we dragged Dan into a couple of events when he was in a kind of a rap live music collective called
Guardians.
No. It's not even before that.
You remember
that.
Wow.
They Live. Yeah.
They Live. That was it.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Just it to be called They Live, boy. Jeez.
Yeah.
So,
stay woke,
so
bitch.
But we'd have really unusual stuff. So we'd always try and have a live band or something like that. But then I remember we had a guy called Mr. Fox, and he would come out. He came out on stage, and he'd get the mic, and he goes, "Now time for some gangster shit." And then he'd pick up a tuba, and he'd start playing the tuba like, wah, 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 wah. And then they would like, a DJ would start mixing, and there'd be like bongos, and we do weird stuff like that. And we did a lot of that sort of stuff. And it was at that time that Flute Box did our show.
Nathan. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's my good brethren, man.
Do you know with Nathan, I just want to tell you a quick story. I had to go to India for work. It's a true story. Obviously, I don't know anyone in India, right? I'm working there. I'm coming to the airport, and then I hear this guy go, "Hey, Theo." I go, "No one knows me here." I'm at Bengaluru Airport. I'm like, no one knows me here. So I turn around.
Where are you? Mumbai?
No, Bangalore. And it was,
sorry.
and it's Nathan. And Nathan is going, "What, Theo, how are you doing?" I go, "What are you doing here?" And he was there with the Asian Dub Foundation doing a festival just up the street. So I bumped into him, and I'm hanging out with Nathan and Asian Dub Foundation at Bengaluru Airport. True story.
Drinking toddies. That's hilarious, man. Proper random shit, innit?
Can't make
it look. Sorry,
Locks
Locks in the chat saying that's a weird coincidence. I used to do the cuts and DJing for Mr. Fox and Friends. There you go.
That's it. I think it was Mr. Fox and Friends.
Yeah,
with the tuba stuff.
Lock used to do the cuts.
Oh, that's why I recognise it. That is crazy.
And those events, if he was at that event, then he's talking about Electroworks in Angel.
That's
in North
the first time I came to your show.
Which was that was a live music event, a paintball venue, and a breaker's yard all in one. So, yeah.
That's it.
That is crazy, man. Shout to DJ Lockboy, because even They Live, he said, "Whoa, that's taking it back." That's how you know Lock is foundation, boy.
Yeah.
And as we said, we've got comment. We call our comment section the Common Sensors, because you know this podcast is powered by the cult of common sense, because you know common sense ain't common at the moment. Shout to Gleam. He says, so I guess this is how you'd say, that's how it's spelled, Hoochinoo, but yeah, Hoochinoo is how you'd say it. He says Indians, he's found this little sentence, Indians lived on Admiralty Island. Interesting that it's called Admiralty Island, isn't it? Admiralty Law. South of Hoochinoo, and were distilling their own alcoholic liquor from molasses in the late 19th century. Molasses, that's sugar right there. That means they were making rum. Yeah, when I hear rum, I get excited in that. But I only like white rum. Shout to Regantology, yeah. We were drinking, he brought around some dark rum. And that's when I had to sit down and really realize that dark rum, I can have one and I'm good. If I have more than one dark rum, that's it. We might end up fighting, bruv. Like I can't drink too much dark rum, man. I'm racist when it comes to rum. How about that? I prefer white rum lives matter. How about that? Yeah, for some reason, I'm just not into the whole barrel. It's like, I don't mind, say, single malt whiskey. Do you know what I mean? I can do that and deal with it. But all the whole stuff of like, put it in the barrel and then let the darkness from the barrel go into the liquor and then drink it. It's just like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
So all you Hoochinoo Indians out there, as long as you're only making white rum, okay.
We fucks with you. Shout out to Nice One JM in the building. What's going on, bruv? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all the crew, man. For real. It's good to see you lots tag names and that. I was going to say faces, but that would be talking a whole load of bollocks. That would be the red wine just seeping out of my pores. Yeah. Right. So Hoochinoo. And then, you know, like you said, man, there's the ups and downs with it, yeah? The thing what I loved is the bravery. Like, it's quite brave of you to put on, like you said, alternative hip-hop. But obviously, and that night especially is when I realized it, is that there's definitely a crowd for it. There are people that love hip-hop music, but then they love other stuff as well. And then when people can amalgamate hip-hop with that other stuff and then bring it forth, and especially giving you a live, you know, a feel-good live element to it, it makes sense. But like, it's obviously quite brave of you to put on that sort of stuff, because majority of the time it's not, you know, like major mainstream at all, innit? It's like some people do make it. Obviously, like someone like Nathan Flutebox, you know, very unique thing he's doing. And then you've got various different sort of bands and whatnot. But yeah, what is it that made you stick with that? That made you, stick with that and sort of say, no, I'm pushing this because I know, you know, it works.
When I was growing up, I was into hip hop. I was into Beastie Boys as well. So I always like that live music element, or the Goats, if anyone remembers the Goats. But that was something I was quite into. Some people never heard of them. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. But and I was growing up with rock and rap, because you got to remember, like Run DMC and Aerosmith, they were trying to combine rock and rap, and it was quite a new thing, really. So there were a lot of bands out there that were doing similar things.
Judgment Night.
So,
do you remember the
like
Judgment Night
Imperial,
album for the soundtrack to the film Judgment Night?
For me, that's the best example of taking a rap group and a rock group and just blending them. Every track on the Judgment Night soundtrack is a combination. So I think it was like House of Pain and Helmet.
Oh my gosh,
Biohazard,
I forgot about
Cypress Hill.
De La Soul and Teenage Fan Club.
Pearl Jam.
Sorts,
That's it. Yeah. Again, if you haven't listened to the Judgment Night soundtrack, that is rock and rap. And I loved all that. You know, I obviously I preferred sort of the hip hop stuff, but I did like the blend of the kind of the rock and the rap or the Beastie Boys stuff. And there were bands at the time and who are still around now called Imperial Leisure or Lazy Habits, and they kind of take that sound and it could almost be a bit kind of hip hop, ska, rock, but a bit of everything really. And
Lazy Habits,
Lazy Habits. They're about to drop a new album. He'll be happy that I plugged this actually, but he's dropping a new album and they'll be touring, I think, the Far East and hitting London and the UK date on about 29th of April, I believe. I'm going to be talking to him about his new album shortly. But yeah, Lazy Habits, Imperial Leisure. It was Acerola Plus, which I used to put on my show loads of times. There was They Live. There's a bunch of them.
So talk about They Live. What was They Live about? That DNA breakdown, because people, I'm sure people are interested to know, like, what was They Live about? Was it anything to do with the film, first of all?
Yes.
Stay woke, my
man. The film.
Yeah, that was a rhetorical question right
That's
there.
pretty much it. So, like one trick. No, I played keyboards and rapped, and then another guy played guitar and rapped, and then we had a drummer and bass player. So it was just like a 4-piece band, but we was both rapping. So when that was probably like 2004, 2005. It sort of got big after that, really. People playing instruments and rapping at the same time, you know. But yeah, I was there first.
Rapping.
Really.
It's interesting you say that because Theo mentioned Lazy Habits, and like my first memory of Lazy Habits is watching them going to watch Mos Def in Shepherd's Bush Empire. Oh man, this is a funny story actually. Going to watch Mos Def at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and the support act were on, and then just thinking like, yo, support act are killing it. And I was like, yo, this support act is sick. You know, I didn't know of them that well, like Lazy Habits. And I was like, yeah, the support act is sick. But I'm not sure about the hype man with his hand in his pocket. It was like, because they were all I think the hype man was wearing a suit, and then he had his hand in his pocket, and it just felt a bit like, you know what I mean? It's a bit too casual. But I'd said it jokingly, you know. I wasn't saying, oh, they're good apart from him. I was just saying, yeah, I don't know about the guy with the hand in his pocket. And then they hit me up, go, yo, like he must have said, yo, that's my thing. You know, that's his kind of way of doing it all. And then what was hilarious is that going back to, you know, rapping and playing drums or playing music at the same time is Mos Def comes on. His performance is not all that at all. And there was the bit that was kind of the highlight was that he was playing drums, like playing kind of, you know, the big, it wasn't like proper drum kit drums. It was like the big dum, 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 playing that and rapping at the same time. And people were going crazy. And then at the end of the show, he said, oh, I'm sorry if the performance wasn't all that, but I've got a cold and whatnot. And I must have already tweeted like, yo, Mos Def is not killing it. And then me and Awate, the rapper Awate, yeah, he was, because he was an avid fan, and then he was not feeling me dissing Mos Def, so we went back and forth a bit about that. So funny, man. But yeah, hilarious shit, man. So yeah, shout out to Lazy Habits, man. That's good to hear they got a new album coming. They're a very hard-working bunch of guys as well. I remember hearing that they actually do all their own bookings and manage their own stuff as well, which is quite hard to do, man. You got so many people involved.
They've got, I think, a documentary coming out, I believe. So I think you can YouTube that, Lazy Habits Arrival or something like that. And I think it's an intro to the first single on the album, as well as a glimpse into this documentary they're putting together. It's pretty cool.
Oh, sick.
And also the guy that played Elton John in the movie, and also what else did he play? He was in King Arthur. was it? You know, Taron Egerton or something like that. So he's in one of their videos as well. So that was just when he was coming up before he hit big time. So, but that's interesting if you want to check him out. I can't remember the name of the single, but just
there was also the Raw Dog band. Do you remember when Task Force went out with a live band at one point? Yeah, Raw Dog.
Yeah, Raw Dog band, of course, man. Of course.
Louis Slippers, and
and then
Louis Slippers, boy.
So that period of time was very popular with bands. And don't forget, this was at the time where you had Plan B.
Yeah.
Remember you had Plan B? And he had the guitar and he's rapping, and then you had
that's
Ed
what I was
Sheeran
saying. That's what I meant. But back then, there was hardly anyone doing it. You know, and then suddenly it started, Plan B came about, and then it started becoming a big thing. There was another guy called Joe, what was his name? American guy who was over here and used to use a pedal that he had like a delay thing on it, and he used to make loops. And then he used to loop
it, yeah. What was his name
rap
again?
over that while he was playing.
Yeah, I remember that.
It became...
I actually hosted...
No, go on.
Sorry, go on. What was he saying?
It became like a big thing eventually, and then Ed Sheeran obviously kicked off, and then that was really the sort of the crossover. That was the crossover point.
Plan B was like the hardcore element. What I was going to say is that I hosted... it was a talent contest that got judged, and Plan B was in it, and he ended up winning. And it was the same thing. It was rapping with the guitar, and very sort of soulful vibe about what he was doing, you know. And like the thing was like, you know, it was like, yeah, he's from the streets, and you know, he's had a rough life and all that sort of talk. And it just seemed like, yeah, this guy's probably going to do well. And then obviously, he went on to just kill it all. And so it felt like he was the dark side of, you know, guitar and singing, guitar rapping and singing, and then Ed Sheeran comes along and hey, jazz hands, and says, look, how you doing grime with jazz hands?
But they took Plan B's guitar off him though, didn't they? Eventually, I think when he sort of went big, he didn't have his guitar anymore. He was just sort of singing, and you know, but he was more on the sort of singing side by then. When that album that came out that crossed over and went big was like a sort of soul album.
Yeah, he completely crossed over at that point. Because at the beginning, he goes, I stick you in the eye with a biro, same biro that I used to sign on my gyro or something like that. So he wasn't talking about stabbing people in the eye on that album. So,
no, that weren't. You can't do that, man. Once you've crossed over that checkered floor, you can't do that anymore, man.
Gleam says he went with Plan A by then. Yeah.
He's a joker, man.
Yeah.
Yes, he says the same about dark rum as well. That's, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta be like, look, man, white is right. Shout out to Kenny Rebel. Scotch whiskey for me, I turn into a monumental, what is that? Shit bag? Bell end. It's either a shit bag or a bell end, one of the two. Wouldn't shake it about for too long. Yeah, well, you're right about that, man. It is a tricky one when it comes to the dark liquor, boy. I tell you that. They call it dark liquor for a reason. So Hoochinoo, obviously still going. We're just waiting for, you know what I mean, life to get back to normal so you can start putting on events again. Is that correct?
Well, we managed to squeeze in an event in November. We did.
Oh, did you? He was there, yeah. It was the Phoenix, the Ice Fire.
Oh, my days. Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry. You know what? Do you know what's funny about that is that, and I saw you as well, but you didn't really make it too much of a Hoochinoo thing. You made it was more focused on the Panacea. So
it did have a massive banner across the decks that said Hoochinoo.com, but
but when you were promoting it, I mean, you're right about that. I mean, by that time, you know, shout out to Irish Moss boss. Like, I think we had a few drinks by then still. You know, like he was on the double Hennessy straight, and I was on the double. I think it was Grey Goose or something like that. I was trying to get my P Diddy on. You know what I mean? They didn't have Ciroc, so I said. So I apologize for that. But to be fair, the online promotion, it felt like it was all about the album. You know, it was like obviously, and I've got to say, man, that was a really good lineup there, bruv.
Yeah.
I spoke about that.
Shout out to Phoenix and Husky Brown for that album, and also Ramps and Bad Bones. You know, it was Ramps and Bad Bones, Lead by Example, King Cashmere. So
you had Revogue Records there.
Yeah, we had Revogue Records. We
Prospects.
Had Prospects, which came up from the South Coast.
Yeah. Bruv, that was a Hoochinoo night there, because you in it, D. Yeah. I came and I was like, that was a special night, man. Like it felt like it was almost like you had not necessarily a genre, but it was, you know, like how people look at the High Focus thing and they're like, oh yeah, but High Focus, that's a particular type of crowd and they might not necessarily be into everything UK hip hop type thing. It felt a bit like that, but not the whole they wouldn't be into UK hip hop thing. It's like, this is the first UK hip hop jam I've been to where people were burning incense. You had sage burning, Palo Santo. We were talking about doing ayahuasca journeys.
It's like you say, the Hoochinoo thing's always got the alternative spin to it. So, you know, it's what you expect, really.
And you had Snuff on the last show, didn't you? Because he DJ'd the whole thing as well.
Yeah.
So he was doing all the incense burning and stuff like that. And also a big shout out to Peaches, the all round edutainer. So I mean, she's been my host. I mean, people. She was a performance in herself. You could have come and just watched her all night. It was amazing.
She's a comedian, man.
She's a comedian. She's also in the theatre at the moment. She's been doing a bit of acting.
Oh, right.
In the theatre. So yeah.
She's been. That's how I know her. I know her from doing The Boys, when me and Kaiser had to play twins in this thing called The Boys. DJ Excalibur, he sourced us two, and Peaches was on it, and then, you know, that guy Ricky who ended up on EastEnders, Kat that was on MTV Base, and a few other people that have got, even is it Diversity or one of those two dance groups that really did well? Yeah, a whole bunch of them were actually in the play as well, and we did it in Stratford Theatre Royal. But yeah, you know, Peaches, man, from then I was like, yo, this girl's a joker. And then I got asked her if she'd be up on jumping on the Telling You intro. A lot of people think the intro on Telling You is jargon, but it's actually Peaches. Peaches, the all-round edutainer, you know. Yeah, so she smacked that. We got to get her on the show, man, because to be fair, we haven't had one female on yet, so we need some of that female energy,
we had Terrain from the CMOS Boss, and also true. Actually, you know what? Talking about CMOS Boss, yes, shit you might not never know nothing about is brought to you by the CMOS Boss, the best place for all your organic, wild-crafted sea veg. Unlike other inferior brands of sea moss, this CMOS Boss sourced their moss from the west coast of Ireland. So, amongst the great line of stuff that they sell, they've got high quality Irish moss, which is rich in minerals. And dulse, that's your favourite in it, Mice? Dulse? Yeah. Yeah, great. It's a good source of vitamin B12 and omega-3 fatty acid. Sea spaghetti, that's your one as well, is it? Yeah. Iodine. Yeah. And then other stuff. What else they got?
You know, just basic. It's really easy. You can just boil up some water. Ideally, use some spring water or distilled, and then put a teaspoon in. You know what I mean? Just a teaspoon of bladderwrack. Have that every other day. something like that, and it really helps you. What's the word? Balance out your thyroid system, which people should know helps you clean out a lot of stuff. So it could sort your life out, man. And they've also got a new addition, which is Wakame. You know what I mean? Something you might not never know nothing about. It can aid in lowering cholesterol levels. So do check out the cmosboss.co.uk. Follow them on Insta, the cmosboss1. And you want to announce it, D? If you want to get
they've given us
get excited.
They've given us a 10%, so you can get 10% off your orders if you use the discount code about10, which is ABOUT 10, about 10. Maybe we'll put that in the chat or something. So that's the cmosboss.co.uk and the discount code about 10. So go there.
About 10. So hit them up, man, because I'm telling you, everyone I've got onto this, they've just been like, yeah, it works. Like, D, have you started yours yet?
I've left it at my girlfriend's. No, I've left it at my, you knew I hadn't, because I'm just looking all like glaky and underpowered, and you could tell.
Dandruff.
I've still got the dandruff.
Trust me, dandruff would be a myth. Yeah, once you get on the CMOS, dandruff will be a myth. It's weird, bruv. You drink it, like you make the gel and all that, and then bam, it's like you can tell the days that you've had some and the days that you haven't. There's just a different feeling going on within your system. Do you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people should definitely get on that. It's got 98 plus different nutrients involved, and trust me, you ain't gonna be disappointed, man. This shit, organic. It's wild crafted. It's from the northeast of Ireland as well, and so because I wanted to look into like how do you know it is, like for them to say that, people can say that, but then how do you know it is? And what it is the fact that so people all over the world, they're like, yeah, if you're gonna get there's sea moss and then there's Irish moss, and the reason why they call it Irish moss is it's only from Ireland, so that's actually the official lot. I've heard that some of the sea moss people are buying is like like some of these islands in the Caribbean and that. Like seaweed, sea moss, and that might just wash up on the beach, innit? Or it might even wash up on the roads. And some of these lot are just running along the roads, picking up sea moss and putting it in a bag, washing it up. Yeah, and selling you it. Say, yeah, Irish moss. Like what?
No, you're back. You're back. I got you back.
Yeah, Irish moss. So when I heard that, I was like, wow. And then what people were saying is, the place where Sea Moss Boss is sourcing their Irish moss, because there's no pollution there, so there's not, there aren't no oil rigs or there's nothing offshore there. And also how it's fresh and wild is the fact that the water keeps moving. So no matter what's going on, all the shit gets thrown out the way. You know what I mean? Like, but the moss obviously stays stuck to the rocks and whatnot. And so, yeah, it's not picking up any of the pollution, man. And like, I've had a few different sea mosses, and for sure, I'm not just saying, otherwise we wouldn't even say like, yo, would you be up for getting involved with the channel as well? And so, yeah, if we're going to do any of this sort of thing, we want to work with people that we know, for one, are independent, are real. They really care about what the product they're putting out there. And then for two is like making sure we want to be able to, like, we have it and we feel the benefits. So we want everyone else to feel the benefits. You know what I mean? I've been on it now since couple weeks before we had him on the show. And it's like, I've got the whole family on it and everyone's just like, yeah, right, this CMOS is banging. Do you know what I mean? So shout out to the CMOS boss, shout out to Terrain and Richie for getting involved with the show as well. Really appreciate that. And yeah, spread the word, man. Just let people know, if you're gonna get CMOS, get it from this place. It's organic and it's not even crazy expensive, man. Like literally, you get a 10-pound bag of CMOS and it'll easily last you a couple months, because you make the gel out of it and then you just need like a tablespoon every day or whatever, or every other day, and bang bang. You know what I mean? Shout out to Locke. We had a little chat about preparation and whatnot. I think you should check out the show that we had them on if you want to find out how to prepare it. I tried both ways that they told us, and I quite like using up the whole material personally. So and now I've got into this thing of sort of boiling it up for about an hour. Do you know what I mean? Just letting it go on a high boil and then turn it down as soon as it starts boiling, and then you gotta keep stirring it because otherwise you fuck up the pot. My first batch, I kind of fucked up the pot. There's a whole lot stuck in the pot. Yeah. I got fucked up there, you know. But yeah, man, shout to the CMOS boss. Once again, cmosboss.co.uk, and you use the discount code about10 to get 10% off any purchase.
Back to the show.
Right. Back to the show. My man Theo. All right, so we've got into Hoochinoo, how it got started, and where we're at with that and the idea behind it. So now, what I want to find out, we've also done Ill Breed Coalition as well. So let's move into the Receptor Records thing before we go into the more up-to-date stuff. Receptor Records, that was obviously sort of, the idea was to put out the music of the crew, right?
Yeah. So the Receptor Records, you might say, is the organised version of Ill Breed Coalition.
Yeah, okay.
So, and at the time, it was a friend of ours called Tom Brown, a guy that we grew up with, were hanging around with, and he was part of the crew, and he created Receptor Records, and that label, and that was in 2003, and that label put out albums like Kashmir, In the Hour of Chaos, and Raw Styles, and Combine Mental's Fundamentals album, and things like this. So that was in 2003. Huge events. I mean, they put on an event at the Forum. I don't know if you remember this, but they brought over, as part of this Receptor Records event, they brought over Juggernauts and Brooklyn Academy. They had
and I missed it, man.
Where was it? Was that at the Forum? Yeah, I was there.
I was
Forum,
there. Kentish Town.
Yeah,
that was an epic night.
At the time, I was, what was that? Because that's around 2006, right? Or late 2005. Because I'd met what's Brooklyn Academy? What's the rapper from Brooklyn Academy? Not Pumpkinhead. It's gonna bug me now. Hold on, let me get the names off and I'll remember. But so I'd met a couple of them whilst I was out there. And it's funny because it was actually I went to like this hip hop night, which was like a Latino hip hop night. I feel like was it in BB King's? It might have been in BB King's.
Was there a band called Cultural Londres at that event? I almost guarantee there would be. They knew Bobo from Cypress Hill, but they were London-based Latino rappers, like working with Delinquent Habits and people like that. Yeah.
Do you know what? There might well have been, there might well have been.
Block McLeod.
Because, but I remember seeing Block McLeod, that's it. Yeah, already. Block McLeod. So I think I've done a couple of tunes with him, actually. It might be, is it one or two? Yeah, I featured on a tune with, but yeah, I met Block McLeod at that event, and I was just gassed. I was like, oh my God, that's Block McLeod from Brooklyn Academy. So I was proper fanboying out. And then I feel like Harry Love was with me, because it was the time I met Harry out there. Yeah, I was, because I used to go there, and it would be like sometimes I'll go via New York to go to Australia, because it was more or less costed the same. So it's like if I could do that for a week or two. And I feel like on one of these, but this might have been the time I stayed there for about 3 months. I was living in New York. And Harry came out, and then we went there. And then I was like, yo, that's Block McLeod, like Brooklyn Academy, what? And then he kind of walked past or whatever. I was like, yo, gassed up, like proper fanboyed out. You lot be like, right, Miles, calm the fuck down, man. What's going on here? And I was just like, yo, and he was like, oh, cool, man, a guy from the UK who knows, and then we kind of hooked up and chatting and whatnot. And then I've forgotten there was another guy that was part of them. And he, they were talking about like they're going to be over in the UK for that event. And I was fuming that I wasn't going to be there, proper fuming. But I was saying to them like, yo, do as much as you can to kind of to let people know, because it was that sort of thing of like, they were more known for, the sound bombing or what was the open mic thing? You know, there was a couple of events that went on, but then there was 1 or 2 albums as well that they were on and really killed it. But they were obviously like sort of late 90s, you know, early noughties sort of thing. And people might not never know nothing about them now sort of things. So I was like, yo, just give them a holler, man. Let people know. Well, go on. And yeah, I was so fuming that I missed that, man. So fuming. So that was Receptor Records. And Teach was involved in that, right? You had a couple of the some of the graphers were involved as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't remember it. It's because I wasn't running Receptor Records at that time. This was before my time. This was back in 2005, 2006, or whatever it was. But it was an epic night, sure. There were other events at Dingwalls as well. You know, other big events that Receptor did while Tom was managing it. So yeah, and they put out a few classic releases like In the Hour of Chaos, which was recently re-released.
Crazy.
But currently, like basically in 2020, because basically the thing that I haven't said is that sadly, Tom Brown passed away. So he passed away a few years back, and we did an event to honour his memory, and we did it to raise money for the Calm charity, which is a mental health charity specifically for men and stuff like that. And you know, at that point, you know, the domain had lapsed, trademarks had lapsed for the label, and then Mr. Signback, also known as Baron Signback, artist as well as producer, he wanted to bring the label back. So he put in a lot of work to literally bring that label back from the brink of extinction. You know, all the trademarks, the logos. There's a lot of work that went into bringing the label back, and that was in 2020. And I jumped on board to help him at that time. And then we, you know, there's been a few releases come out after that time. I don't know if I can plug some of them now. I'll do that. Like a shame then as well. So what we did is we're still into vinyl. This is obviously before pandemic, because it's been, I don't know if you guys know, but it's like really difficult to get vinyls pressed at this time.
Yeah, it's been really clogged up because everyone's sitting at home like, right, what should I do? All right, I might as well just press some vinyl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, we put out the physical of Phoenix the Icefire and Husky Brown's Panacea album. So that's actually the digital release is on New Dawn Records, but the physical release was put out on Receptor Records, and Hoochinoo was a collaborator on that. And then we also put out Mr. Signback, who is the label owner, as well as a rapper and producer. He's like a player manager. That's his album, Boom Baplical. And it's a really good album. But as well as that, you know, there's other artists that we work with, and these other artists are ill-breed coalition people. These are people I've been kicking around with since the 90s. So, you know, people like King Lats recently put out Receptor Don on Receptor Records, and then Tom Ryan put out Omnipotent. And then there's other stuff coming from artists like Teach, and you know, we're just trying to find our way as a label, really, or as the relaunched label, which was originally started by Tom Brown. Nice. So, you know, everyone, you know, it was so bad
it's a good tribute to
lose
Tom,
him,
yeah.
but you know, the label, exactly.
Right. That's wicked, man.
Yeah.
Crazy, boy. Crazy, man. And so it's still going. Have you got any potential releases on the way?
Well, King Let's Receptor Don just came out within the last few weeks. So
Receptor Don.
Yeah, Receptor Don. Okay. So King Let's is the artist. So check it out. It's on Spotify, all the digital channels.
Big up to King Let's, man. Foundation, boy.
Yeah, we're currently. I don't know what we're going to do in terms of vinyl. Like we love putting vinyl out, but it's just been a bit tricky. So for now, we're just going to be putting out the digital releases and potentially more vinyl releases when we can.
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot about. I was chatting to Strange Strange Neighbor about that, because he's quite obviously Revogue Records. They do a lot of vinyl and whatnot, and he was saying, man, some of the waiting lists he's had to deal with have been like for 6 months and shit like that.
Strange Neighbor has been a great help to us as well. Like I've been working closely with him, and he's been helping me out a little bit in terms of how to connect with a lot of the distributors and things like that. So he's been really good. And what I didn't realise was that Revogue Records, Receptor Records, people get us confused. So like I'm talking sort of some of the outlets, and I'm saying, yeah, I got some hot vinyl like fresh off the press, and he goes, yeah, I spoke to you like last week. I go, no, that's Revogue Records. This is Receptor Records, but when you look at it, it's
but wasn't Revogue is also one of their friends who died, isn't it? I think that's who they started the label because of a friend of theirs who died. Yeah, I think that's it. That's what it was. Trevor, someone called Trevor. So Revogue is Trevor backwards. I think that's So,
Okay, you know what? I did not know that.
Yeah, some shit you didn't know nothing about.
Was something you might never know nothing about. Yeah.
It always happens here, bruv. That's what always happens. So Revogue is Trevor backwards. Yeah, okay, without the T.
Yeah.
And also that Revogue performed at the last Hoochinoo that you were at, and their performance, they just did a little set as part of the warm up or the support acts, and they killed it, and G-Bag was there, and that set. They just smashed it, and I was thinking, gosh, I put them on for like 40 minutes because they were just killing it. So big shout out to Revogue Records as well.
Yeah, I love what they're doing, man. Like I've featured on a few bits and bobs for them, man, and it's always fun working with them lot.
Something else you might, Big Toast. Something else you might not know. They sponsor a football team.
Grover, that's it. Sorry, DJ Lock, Grover. Yeah.
Grover, yeah. Because I was about to say that.
Yeah,
that's why I moved on. Yeah. When
listen,
I was like,
so it's Grover backwards. Yeah.
So. No, I'm not really. I'm not really. I'll just use it when I have to.
What are you gonna do there?
I'll just use it when I have to.
Hey, shout out to Bruce Willis in the building. He says bits and bobs. Shout out to Blue Fliggy. Happy New Year, bruv. Shout out to Savash Sean Adams. Sean Adams.
That's my guy from Istanbul. He's locked in from Istanbul. He grew up with me. He grew up with me in North London. He moved to Istanbul. So big shout out to Sav. Sean.
Yeah, man. That's nice, man. Look at that. You're bringing some international viewership. Is that how you're going on, bruv?
Of course, always.
What was I going to ask you? There's something I was going to ask you about that. Revogue Records. And so, and how are you finding it? So obviously, you started the record label before the digital thing was really popping, in it was really like the thing. Like we've all had to sort of transition to getting excited about streams and whatnot, and how many we've done for the year and whatnot. How have you found that sort of transition coming from a more physical world where, like you said, you were doing tapes, CDs, and vinyl, and then now you're like focusing more. Obviously, it's easier in terms of putting the stuff out, but then the get back is a little bit different, in it. It's slightly different.
I don't miss CDs, and I don't miss tapes. Although I know tapes have had a resurgence and people collect tapes, but with vinyl, like I just like to have, the vinyls. I like to hold it and play it and have some sort of physical media. Like vinyl feels like it's worth it. You pull it out of the sleeve and you put it and you play it. I love it. So without that kind of physical release and just being pure streams, I'm not saying it's hard to get excited because the music is fantastic, but I don't know. I definitely miss something about physical media. But for me, I still get it through vinyl. And if I could put out a physical release for each album, then we drop vinyl for all of the releases. So we'll probably do that when things settle down, and we might even do some sort of compilation with all the Receptor Records artists on like a double LP or something at some point. So that would be good.
Sick, man. Yeah, it's really. I admire people still, because I always found like, I think it's just because I'm an artist. Check Bluefoot. He says no mini disc. Yo, Blue was the one who put me onto mini disc, man. Just bro, you gotta get mini disc, man. You gotta get mini disc. It's a shame,
was
man.
very involved with UKHH.com as well, Bluefoot.
Yeah, like I said, he was the one who told me people were trying to, you know what I mean, trying to tump me down. I only released like 3 things or something. People go, yeah, my just fell off. It's all rappers though. All rappers. They wanted me to.
There was people who was in there all the time. Like there was names that was always, you know, like you had a list at the bottom. It said who's active in the forum. Blue's name was in there quite a lot. Yeah, it was a few people. I can't remember anyone else, but there was a few names that was always in the forum.
Baron Samedi, or Baron Samedi.
Samedi, yeah, he was. Wasn't he up north, innit, Baron Samedi?
Yeah. I saw him perform at Boom Bap Festival. I saw him perform for the first time live. He smashed it. I was like, what? Because I recognised his name for the forums, and he was performing, and I was like, yeah, he smashed it. And he has a YouTube channel, I think, where he reviews computer games or something like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Beat Butcher.
I think.
Yeah, Gleam saying Beat Butcher.
Stig.
Yeah, Stig was a computer guy, definitely. Yeah. Ghost.
Ghost. I think it was a thing of like, you know, it's that thing of obviously as well. This is something new. It's quite an innovative way of communicating with other people, and then you've all got something in common, which is the UK hip hop scene. And so it was quite beautiful to hear that. Oh wow, there's a community of people talking about it and that.
There's a lot of names getting shouted out now. So was Gleam? Was you in there, Gleam, back then?
Yeah, I think he was, man. For him to be reeling off all these names, Hennessy, Crucifix. Yeah, man. You know, and what I loved, because even though obviously hearing that, I was like, right, what people saying I'm flopping, but I was like, so what is it? You know, and then Blue was like, oh, it's, you know, it's a chat, it's a forum, and people chat about UK hip hop, and I just felt like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. That we, you know, there are people even talking about the scene anyway, because like it's always been a indie level. I was talking about this not too long ago. I think I sent a tweet saying like you could tell that. What I was saying, if people in UK hip hop had been initiated, if they'd been, you know what I mean, blindfolded and a stake to the heart, you know what I mean, on that level, making some form of sacrifice. Trust me, UK hip hop would be way bigger. But at the same time, by now, it would probably sound really stupid as well. So we're quite lucky. There's a lot of stuff being unearthed now about the hip hop world in America being infiltrated from quite a long time ago, way before we've even understood. And that's why there's all this weird sort of Masonic symbolism that goes on. And now it's way worse than it was. But, you know, even through all the like boom bap stuff where you're like, oh shit, like I didn't realize that this sign meant that, or, you know what I mean? So it's quite crazy, but I feel like we're quite blessed. Even though, you know, there's a lot of artists, a lot of people that should have been way bigger and should be way bigger than they are. But, you know, we're starting to get to know that this music industry was way more infiltrated than we could ever have thought of. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're lucky that we're still able to say what we want, make the music that we want. And, you know, the people who care. So all right, I see Gleam saying I had battles with them lot. Did you battle? Oh, what, battle live, or were people? Because I remember there was this whole thing of people doing battles, like, you know, online, innit? It was like line for line, verse for line for line, where someone might rhyme 2 bars and then you'd rhyme 2 bars off of that, and it was kind of like a battle, online battle. Was that what Gleam's talking about?
He's saying he's got real audio files. So he's got audio files of him battling all those people on the forum. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. That's nuts, man. Yeah, we might have to hear some of them, Glee. We might have to hear some of them, boy. Yeah, see, you're more, you know what I'm talking about, man. I don't know if anyone bothered to check, you know, see through the script, you'll see there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't even clock onto any of that. Yeah. Send them over, Gleam. MysDiggi@hotmail.com. Yeah, let's have a listen to some of these battles, man. Crucifix as well, boy. That's taking it back, mate. Oh, I tell ya. Right, so UKHH. let's move into that now. How did you get involved in that? And what was the plan? So this is where obviously we'll bring in Defacer, because I think he's quite what am I going to say? He basically, without him, it might not have ran as smoothly, right? UKHH.com.
100%. So
that's a Defacer.
Big shout out to Defacer. So I'll just give you a quick sort of summary of UKHH.com, because at the very beginning, it started in 1999. And you know that,
what?
1999. And
wow.
Miles, you know that because we did the 20-year anniversary party in 2019, which you performed at. You smashed it. But at the beginning, so I wasn't involved. You know, I was a member of the forum, the UKHH.com forums under the name Specone. That was my name, and I was like saying, "Hey, what's up?" and getting cussed the shit out of in the forums like everyone else. So,
did you battle with Gleam? Audio battles with Gleam, or?
Probably. If I did, he would have battered me, no doubt. But yeah, so that was in 99. So at the very beginning, UKHH.com was an amalgamation of two different websites. There was a guy called Martin Flat 4 and another guy called Aussie BSC. I don't know these guys, but I know some of the history from Spoon. So these guys had their own websites, which they combined to make a website called UKHipHop.com. So originally, it was UKHipHop.com. At that time, I guess people didn't really know about domain names and stuff, and I think that domain was lost. And then it was those two websites were formed and added onto UKHH.com. And then a little bit after those guys had merged their sites together, you had Smithy, which people may know. He was running things back then with Spoon. Do these names ring any bells? Smithy and Spoon. They ran the whole site. They were in the forums. You know, they were the administrators and stuff, but they were running it from then. And kind of years later, in about 2008 or 9, they passed the ownership of the site over to Ghost, and Ghost was running it. You know, Music for Heads. He was running it, but he was based in New Zealand. Yeah. And
so he'd already moved out to New Zealand by then.
Yeah. So he was running the site from New Zealand, and there was various kind of issues, and eventually he handed it off to myself and Defacer. But before we took it on in about 2012, because at this time I was doing Hoochinoo, and obviously I'm doing my job, and I'm looking after my son and everything else. And then I said to Defacer, because I was approached by Smithy and Spoon about it. And I said, look, we got an opportunity to run UKHH.com. Do you want to do it? It sounds like a lot of work. And Defacer was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's definitely do it. And I went, all right. And that was basically how we started. And then we took the site.
Literally, Defacer. So Defacer started it, and you helped him out, basically.
Yeah. So I sort of brought the opportunity, and I said, "Do you want to do it? It's a lot of work. Do you want to do it?" He goes, "Definitely." I said, "All right, let's do it." And that's when we started. And at that time, it was all written. It was all written interviews and articles, and maybe a couple of music videos, not much. And then we started to, film interviews and do a lot of kind of recorded content, and just. We got the logo done. This logo here, that was designed by Graffiti Life. You know who Graffiti Life is? I don't know if you know, but
no.
graffitilife.co.uk, something like that. Check them out. The main guy over there, David, he's now a neon graffiti artist. Does massive pieces on the sides of buildings, all in neon colours. It's amazing. But David at Graffiti Life. And so we rebranded, we went to pure video, and we just changed the overall look of the site. And that was in sort of 2012. And then just a couple of weeks ago, we just not rebranded, but we just launched a brand new website. That was on January 1st, 2022. We just launched a brand new new look website. So we're just trying to kind of constantly change and update and refresh. So.
So you launched a new website for ukhh.com?
Yeah, on January 1st, just gone.
Yeah, some numerology, yeah. What's that? 01012022. Is there any specific reason for that?
You tell me. I don't know. You're on the front page. If you wait for a second, you're going to see your face. Give it 1 second.
The shape of an 8. It adds up to 8. For real. What am I doing on the front page, man?
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious.
521.
So it's basically a revamp of the site.
Yeah, we revamped it. We tried to modernize it. That was an article I did with Blade. I caught up with Blade about his 521 channel, and just talking to him. It's funny because I said to Blade, I said, if you could interview anyone alive or dead in the world, who would it be? And he said Maradona. So I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah,
Maradona, you know. Wow,
if you want to know more, go to ukhh.com and read the article.
Plug, yeah.
Love it. Yeah, man. Go get over there, mother lovers, and you know what I mean? Let's build this up proper. I think it's time now as well. People really start fucking supporting our own. Do you know what I mean? Being that we're not, shout to your mom. She said she believes it all. That's why she's laughing. Seeing as we ain't been infiltrated. Do you know what I mean? And I was there. I like, there's a chance. You got to remember, some of our artists were on like commercial TV, CDUKs, and you know, certain people were getting places where it's like, oh wow, this thing might blow up. So those were the moments where we were getting infiltrated. Do you know what I mean? The majors were looking at us, and boy, some of us might have had to traipse on, you know what I mean, along that checkered flooring. Next minute, bam, some sacrifices. Oh, so and so's part. Oh, this and that's happening, and then people blowing up. You know what I mean? It didn't happen that way, but yo, a lot of us are still here. We haven't been tainted. We haven't been corrupted. You know what I mean? We can still make the music we make. Think about it, man. Boom bap, you know, like hardcore hip hop is hard to come by in certain countries now because they got infiltrated, man. They can't make the music that they used to. You know what I mean? Because they want to dumb the kids down. But luckily, you got Receptor Records, Revogue Records. You got High Focus. You got a bunch of different labels in the UK that can still, you know what I mean, do the thing and do it properly. Man said, Lawrence Lindbergh said, Sainsbury's not give you a good... Brother, I did Sainsbury's without a manager. Without no, you know what I mean? You're talking like that. I did it independently. So, you know, all these things happen, but I tread that water like the way I'm supposed to.
And anyway, the Sainsbury's vouchers dried up a long time ago. They're charging mice for bags still now, so...
Yeah, man. Yeah, they charge me for bags. You know what I mean? I don't get no. Hey, I ain't even gonna get into it. Like people don't even recognize me no more when I walk in there. So that's how I know I ain't sold out properly yet. I still got work to do before I still got sacrifices to make. Put on.
Right, Subway.
These like, yo, yeah, Subway. Do you know what I did on Subway? Because I think they used it on Subway. Yeah. We did a few different pictures. Shout out to True Mendes. That was the first time I actually got to meet her as well. And if people don't know, we did a little online ad for Subway. And we did a few pictures in that. And one of the pictures I did do you know what I mean? The 666. I did that because I was like, let me see if they use it. Bruv, they used it. That was the picture they used. I was like, right, this is deep. So, some people think I've been infiltrated. You know what I mean? They're like, right, how did you get that? They're like that. Brother, how did you get that Sainsbury's ad though? Like, what did you do? Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes it is literally just down to the talent. That's it. There's nothing else. You know what I mean? And then they want to find out how far you'll go. Do you know what I mean? Will you show us your bum? Go on, show us your bum. If you show us your bum, we'll blow you up. Yeah, but if you don't do that, that's it. You stay indie, mother lover. You know what I mean? I've been indie for so long, it's normal to me. So, you know, I just find it weird that I get to do all these little weird, like, you know, the Renault thing recently. That was like a tune we'd done 3 years ago or whatever. And then it gets picked up. So, you know, it's interesting, man. But yeah, that's this is why I'm starting to really appreciate UK hip hop for what it is because looking around the world, especially the US, even here in France, like Mother Lover's got infiltrated. That's why the music, they've dumbed it down for the kids. So you're not really, you know, you don't really get to talk some sense and teach them the real. Do you know what I mean? But we're lucky, man. Like I said, I don't need to reel off the names again, but we got artists out here that are still teaching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so man said the battles. Nice one, Gleam. Right. Yeah. See it there, Lawrence Limburger. Make the man them cock-a-doodle-doo totally. Yeah, when I did cock-a-doodle-doo, that was like my middle finger to all of that. When people were trying to tell, oh, do this and do that, oh, the UK wrap-up and the blah, blah, blah. I was like, yo, I'm not one of them. I'm not here for none of that. And furthermore, let me do this track. And the point of, so shout to Defacer, who we've been bigging up. We did the video together, and we said we're gonna go along, you know, all the bridges of London, and the metaphor behind that was just me burning bridges. So there's a bunch of people in that industry world that was like in my ear, oh man, do this, do that, and then bam, after that I never heard from them again. So it was perfect because I did this just to have fun, I'm not trying to get infiltrated, bruv. I don't want to blow up and be, hey, everyone. You can't even go shopping and all that. It's like, what the hell, what kind of life is that, man? You know what I mean? But let's get on to more important things, man. UKHH. So what do you feel was the turning point in terms of like, when you guys decided to take it on, and then like you said, it was more about text. It was more about interviews and reviews and whatnot and albums. But then the idea of sort of doing music videos and all that came into play. And how did that come about? And I feel like that was sort of the turning point of when people started to recognize it for more than just what it was.
Yeah, so
whose idea was that?
It was all Defacer self-taught camera stuff. You know, he went out and bought a camera. He taught himself how to use it, how to edit. And me, I was just a mouth. You know, I knew everyone in the scene. So I'd hit someone up and say, yeah, can you come down and do a bars video? And then Defacer would film it and edit it and everything else. So I was sort of the mouth and he was the tech. And that's how it all come about. So we started doing interviews, and then he moved into actually filming people, not just bars videos, but actual music videos. And he's just gone from strength to strength. So, you know, we have bars videos, interviews, and music videos. I mean, back then we were...
There's some kind of noise in the background. Do you hear that? Or is that
no, I think it might just be on Theo's. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, just boiling a kettle in here.
I think it was a really good idea because the thing about obviously having a website and then branding that is like having your own content, not just the interviews and whatnot, but also, you know, like you're saying, doing the sort of bars videos as well as music videos for people. And I think that was a really important part that made it. That was like the pivotal moment where it's like, okay, this is what we're about. And obviously, yeah, Defacer being who he is. So Defacer, let's talk about how you guys linked up. How did you get in contact with each other? Did you send him over from South Africa, or what the hell? How did you lot link up, man?
I ordered him online and I sent him over. No, because I mean, I got to say, he's the energy and the skill and the talent and everything. But it was only by chance that we met. He's listened to people like Jest and MysDiggi, obviously, back in South Africa. So then he came to the UK via Australia. So he got completely into the Australian hip hop scene as well. That's where he came across Rapper Tag and 360 in Australia. So then he exactly, yeah. So I bumped into him at a job, just working at a random job, and he's there working as well. And you know, we sort of realised we're into the same music. And then he's talking about Jest and MysDiggi and, you know, all this other stuff. And I was like, well, I do these hip hop shows. And he was like, you're kidding? I said, come down. So at the time, the first show he came to was when we were doing a Lazy Habits launch party at the Village Underground in Shoreditch. Yeah, he came to that, and he was like, "Wow, this is awesome," sort of thing. And he goes, "Oh, you ever heard of this Rapper Tag stuff?" I go, "No, I never heard of it." He goes, in Australia, there's a rapper called 360, and he started this whole phenomenon over there. And he showed me a few of the rappers out there and some of the rapper tags. And I said, we should do that here. And so we launched it in the UK. And there was a prominent UK rapper at the time who helped us kick the whole thing off. That's you.
Yeah, right.
So for anyone who don't know, it was MysDiggi that kicked off Rapper Tag, episode 1, season 1 in the UK. So,
yeah, man.
That was really cool. And now we're three seasons deep.
So how many episodes have you done? Like season 1 and 2 so far?
It varies, but I think overall we've got about 100 episodes, something like that, across 3 seasons. It's something like that. And we've done mad stuff. Like one of the rappers from Fly Tippers, which was one of the guys that hangs out with Lunacy.
Lunacy, yeah.
I forget
his DJ, name. Is it Heritage?
No, Chief Wiggs. His name was
Chief Wiggs. Yeah.
And he goes, come down to where I work. I go, where do you work? He goes, I work at the local chippy. We went into the chippy while he's working, and he's rapping, and he's doing the orders, and he's making fish and chips. And we just did loads of crazy episodes like that. There's loads of really random stuff. It's all on YouTube, so you can see it. Just put in Rapper Tag UK. If you put Rapper Tag, you'll get not only Australian Rapper Tag, you get UK Rapper Tag, and then I think you get Latvian Rapper Tag, and also I think Arabic Rapper Tag. Yeah, exactly. So it started to sort of spread all over the world, really.
Yeah, it was an honor to like get involved in that, because obviously, Australia was like my second home. So when that popped up, I was like, oh, that's a really good, because I knew about it, but then I was like, yeah, that's a good, like, I don't know why I didn't think of that myself. Like, just start one here. And the beautiful thing about it is it's sort of showing each other support. It's like you can draw for a name that people might not expect, or even they might not expect you to draw for them. And then they'll be like, oh shit, my man rates me. Oh, bro. Was it ever tricky? This is one thing I wanted to know. Was it ever tricky with someone being tagged and then you kind of got because you don't know whether they even know they've been tagged or not. And then now you've got to say, oh, so-and-so tagged you in this rap. Would you be up for spitting some bars? Was it ever tricky trying to get those bars?
Yeah, it was.
It was. You don't have to mention names. You can if you want, but what have been some of the trickiest moments?
Well, basically, we'd have situations where people are like, I know this rapper, or I know so and so, fairly big name, and then it's like, I'm gonna tag him in, and I'm like, you definitely know him, yeah? Yeah, he's my boy. Okay, cool, tag him in, and then he tag him in, and then we go to that guy, and he goes, who's this guy to tag me in, kind of thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so we had to sort of, kind of tag someone else in. There's a few incidents like that. And
right.
People...
So you blatantly have to just go, okay, well, forget. Here's looking to this flashy light I got from the Men in Black, and then just move into a next rapper.
But some of it brought the season to an end. So sometimes if a season was sort of, if the guy wasn't responsive, or if something happened, we'd let the season fizzle out and then we start fresh and we do it again. But we had, those really cool episodes we did, like Fallacy. Went up to see Fallacy. And
where was he? In Gonchester? Was he in Gonchester then?
Yeah. And at the time, I don't know why we did this, right? But me and DeFacer, we bought a speaker, a massive speaker like this, and it had a kind of a stick that you pull up like a luggage for the airport, and then we're dragging the speaker around Manchester or Birmingham or whatever, and we'd put the speaker, crank it up, and have like music coming out the speaker, and then the guy would rap, and that's what we did with Fallacy. So sometimes the sound was terrible, but the actual video is awesome. Fallacy would come out into the car park, and we go, where do you want to film this thing? And he goes, right here. I was like, cool. Put the speaker on, put the tune, and he just delivered this bars in one take, and it's awesome. So it's just Fallacy Rapper Tag season 1 is really good. The sound quality is not amazing, unfortunately, but that was one where I was just blown away, because the speed of the delivery, and he didn't mess it up. He just delivered it and went. And I remember saying to the face, I was like, did you get that? did you, was the camera working? Yeah, did you press record? And luckily it did.
It did, luckily.
And then the another one, the main one that I always think about is Young Gun. So I dragged Young Gun to the top of Heron Tower in Liverpool Street. Do you know Heron Tower? It's got Sushi Samba and all that stuff. You know it?
I don't think so.
Anyway, massive tower in East London, and I managed to get in there. I was let in. I didn't break in, obviously, but we got to the very top of this Heron Tower, and we filmed Young Gun rapping, doing his verse for Rapper Tag. And we're like looking across the whole of London. You can see the Gherkin and like all the buildings.
Wow.
It's all online. Now that I've brought attention to it, I'm sure it's going to get shut down. But if you look for Rapper Tag, Young Gun, as he was going under at the time before Essa, that was a good one. The person who got me into the building to film that episode nearly lost their job. So that's kind of where we were.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Wow. Bruv, I've got to give you some props, man, because it sounds like you lot covered some mileage getting these rapper tags. Like, people got to understand, it wasn't a case of rappers filming themselves and then sending you the video. It was like you and Defacer traipsing around the UK to get people, film them, and then head back home. And, man, that's dedication right there. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people they'll be, oh, yeah, just send us a video. You know what I mean? Like, I even feel like Rapper Tag in the other countries was more or less like that, wasn't it? It wasn't necessarily like one crew going around filming them. So that's a lot of work, man. If you were to try and cover how many hours how many miles you put in sort of covering these Rapper Tags, what would you say? Because you're saying there's over 100 episodes.
We went, let's say, in one day, I can't remember if it was one day, but we went and we filmed Capo, Fallacy, and Connie Con all in one day. I think
what? So you went from Capo is in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And then you went to Manchester.
I think it was 2 in Manchester, but even different parts of Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to go Conicon, and then Fallacy, and then Capo, and I think we went as far as Middlesbrough. But we didn't cover Scotland, unfortunately. But if someone in Scotland had been tagged in, we would have gone there and we would have filmed. Yeah. So we're trying to put more focus on some of the rappers in places like Scotland or Wales as well as England. We're trying to make sure that UKHH is covering the whole island.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. I enjoyed that Rapper Tag as well because it put that's probably the first bars like I didn't write down. Like, I was like, let me try this Jay-Z shit, man. Let me try this, and it came off as, I wasn't sure at first, but I was like, yo, all right, come. But for me, it takes too long. I prefer writing my shit, man. Trying to remember all of that is like, yo. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man, to put together the Rapper Tag thing. And I definitely hope it carries on because there's a lot of new artists now. We call them new, but, they're artists that weren't around sort of in the noughties and whatnot. They might, they've obviously put out bits of material here and there, but so I'm sure the Rapper Tag can keep going because of that. Do you know what I mean? And were there ever times like singers were getting involved in that as well? It wasn't just rappers, or was it all just bars?
No, it was bars. I'm trying to think if there's anyone like that. I don't think there was anyone that would do the kind of the rap singing stuff or just singing. It was bars. Just rap stuff. Yeah.
It makes sense as Rapper Tag.
Yeah, we try to get, because otherwise it could, it might go off on a tangent. I guess we have to put some sort of rules in place. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds like there's an option there for singer tag, but shout out. I guess that's Defacer is ukhh.com says broke down on the way back from Manchester.
That's it. Yeah, that's actually I was gonna tell that story. So like after we filmed all of those, Connie Con and everyone. We're driving back on the motorway and suddenly the car starts to slow down. And the face goes, what are you slowing down for? I said, no, I don't know what's happening. And then I realised I just forgot to put petrol. So I literally broke down on the middle of the motorway on a Sunday when we had work at 9 the next morning. So yeah, I do stuff like that.
How did you sort it out? You can't leave us hanging, man. How did you sort it out?
No, I had to call the AA. I had to call the AA and then, say, oh, I've run out of petrol, Yeah, it was not my finest moment.
Boy, but still going strong, man.
Thanks,
still going strong, bruv. Yeah, man. Shout out to Defacer, man. I mean, bruv, literally, man. Like, it's hard to think of how many other people have done the amount that you've done in that space of time. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, as well, is you're very humble about it. Like, a lot of people wouldn't know. Like, even for us, it was like, oh yeah, we know you for this. Oh yeah, this and this, things like that. So, man, mad props. And like, I can't even put into words how much I respect the effort you put in for the scene. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously from the idea of doing Hoochinoo and it not just being about UK hip hop as a genre, but also things outside of it connected to it. But then deciding to take on something like UKHH.com, which is that's quite a feat. I remember chatting to the other guy who because he was telling me, he was a little drunk sort of ramble about how he started it, and then the fact that it was just a bit too much for him, and he was just so happy that someone had taken it on that really had a passion for it as well.
Was that at the event? Was that Spoon?
Yeah, because that's why I was saying that to you, like, because he was breaking down how, like, originally it started this way, but it was the fact that I just felt that, he was really thankful that someone had carried it on, and then the fact that you've taken it to levels that it wasn't at before. Like, everyone knew about UKHH to a certain extent, but then I feel like what you did was brought the live element to it, as well as the fact that it was branded more because of the fact that you're doing videos independent of, you're doing videos for independent artists. I just feel like more people should really support it, and not, there was a little stigma with the name, like people, oh, UK hip hop, man. It just, why do you have to call it UK hip hop? Why don't you just call it hip hop? Because it's like, bruv, because it's from the UK. Like, I don't see the problem with calling it UK hip hop, man. I don't understand why people have a problem with that. What do you think that's about? Before we go, because we're coming up to the hour.
Yeah. I mean, it's all hip hop music, obviously, but we just wanted to concentrate the site on music coming out in this country. So UKHH seemed to be applied as the genre, and UKHH.com is obviously the website. So can I say a few things before we go? Like, I don't know how much time
man.
Got,
Go in, bro.
I just wanted to say that obviously UKHH.com, we're always looking for writers or contributors. So if you can write, or if you want to be involved in some way, then get in touch and email us at info@ukhh.com. As well as that, buy our merch. So you can go ukhh.com. You can get some of these tees or hats or whatever. And can I give some?
Yeah. Plug yourself. Plug away, please. Just tell us where we can find you, where we can find your friends, where we can find you. Just plug away, man. Let's go.
Your shoe size.
Yeah. So obviously, you can find me anything at Hoochinoo or anything at ukhh.com, but it's
literally anything.
But like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Hoochinoo or ukhh.com, but it's ukhh.dotcom, like .com written out. And then I just want to give some shout outs if you don't mind.
Yeah, man, go in, bro.
So big shout out to the Facer, Kieran, everyone at ukhh.com, my girl Ling, the Young Lion, the IBC, Receptor Records, everyone at Acoustic, Nutsack, and obviously Dan DNA and MysDiggi, legends in your own right. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a lot of
pleasure,
fun.
Man. Thank you, bruv, man. Foundation, it's beautiful to start the year off this way as well. I think like we have to give our flowers to the people that deserve it, and you're definitely one of them people. Defacer as well, man. Defacer, like, I just love the guy. He's willing to go anywhere, do anything at any time, And that's my type of people, man, that don't give a fuck. It's like, yeah, brother, however long this takes, let's do it. Like, we've shot a couple videos, and they may have taken longer than they're supposed to, but the quality is always there. Do you know what I mean? And that, for me, that's what it's more about, man. Like I said, I'm not really about that whole trying to blow up and be famous, and because it just seems like a weird. I don't think it's natural, if I'm honest. I think it's a bit weird. But I think when you're passionate about something, especially art, and you're willing to take it to places that, you know, you might lose a little sleep or you might have to spend a little money, that's, to me, that means a lot more than, you know what I mean, all of the fame and whatnot and the glory, because it shows integrity, you know, and it shows that this art means a lot more than just like, I just want to be rich off of it. You know what I mean? We know that that's just that's a construct anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, bruv, enough love, man. Once again, we reel this off. Shout out to Theo Specone, man. Hoochinoo, UKHH.com, Rapper Tag, Receptor Records, yo. And Ill Breed Coalition. See, I always feel like I'm saying it, I'm just not saying enough. That is so much, bruv, man. That is so much, man. Mad respect to you, brother. And hopefully we could do it again, man. If you got anything coming up, just let us know and we'll plug it for you as well, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to come back, and I'll definitely let you know.
Stick around for a couple of minutes, Theo, afterwards. Just have a quick chat. All right.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Lawrence Limburger. He says, UKHH has been emblazoned in my brain since the teens. Such graft, such longevity, massive props. Gleam says, salute Theo. Yamor says, big up UKHH, all the crew. Yeah, man, enough love. Kenny Rebel, the same thing. Huge respect. IBMC says, salute. Nice one, JM, dropping the diamonds, the gems up in there, man. Theo, please keep going, man. Without people like you, we don't know where... Yeah, some people might have been infiltrated by now. Let's say that, yeah. Look what you're doing for the young guys like Prospects, man. Like, shout out to Defacer, the music videos you lot are doing for them. And those guys are super talented. Like, we had them when we was on Food Bar Radio, we had them on, and I was just like, yo, these kids can rhyme. You know what I mean? It's refreshing when you got like teenagers that are spitting, like, you know what I mean? Like it's the 90s again type thing where it's like, yo, I've got to outdo this guy here. You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't know what the thing that yeah, it's none of that. It's like bars. So yeah, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yo,
you,
shout out to the crew that were locked in. We appreciate each and every one of you, mother lovers. Shout out to Blue Fliggy, UKHH, nice one, JM Gleam, Lawrence Limburger. Shout out to Inspired Empire Recordings. Oh, man, I didn't even see that name there. Shout out to Yamor, Kenny Rebel. Shout out to PLK. Yo, Happy New Year, mother lovers, man. We're glad to see you lot back with us. We'll be back again. I believe we'll be back again next week, innit?
Yeah.
I think I leave on Thursday, so I can do Wednesday night. I know we're probably rehearsing, but you know what I mean? So I might have like the little croaky voice, you know what I mean? I might have my...
sexy voice on.
Yeah. So then you could call me Mice and Beckford. You know what I mean? Huh? All right, maybe not then. You know Tyson? But yeah, we appreciate all you lot locking in. We'll be back again next week for some more shit you might not never know nothing about. That was Theo Specone. My name is MysDiggi. That's Dan DNA. Shout out to Black Einstein, by the way, and IBMC. But we're out.